This is the Free Spirits of L&D podcast, where we talk about life as a freelancer in the fascinating world of learning and development, and ask our guests all the questions you wanted to know but were maybe too afraid to ask. Yes, we even talk about how we get business and what we all charge. At the end of each episode, each guest gets to set a bonus question for the next one. So whether you're thinking about taking the leap, brand new to freelancing, or an experienced freelancer, you won't want to miss this. Okay, so we're here at Free Spirit Live, and we're doing a live podcast today, and our first guest on the podcast is the wonderful Emma Klosson. So Emma, first of all, what were you looking for in terms of the day with a conference like this?
I think for me, as a solopreneur, just the connection and contact, right? So having that opportunity to network with your peers is sometimes hard to actually leave the house and go to these big networking events, right? And they cost money, they're expensive. And so Kim just always does such a brilliant job of bringing together people who, first of all, get it, right? They're all doing what we're doing. We're all sort of stuck here on our own, but we have this sort of complementary set of skills where we can kind of learn from each other, and do it from the comfort of your own home is always a bonus. So many things. I think just having connection and doing it in a comfortable way.
It is. I always think with this one, it's such a lovely representation of the Free Spirits community in general, because it's all about people coming together. We've all got lots of shared experiences. We've all got lots of very different experiences as well. And on an event like this, you get to see it all of that richness come through in one space. It's really cool.
It is. And also, to give back as much as you can, right, too. That's the other thing. I came to the conference last year as an attendee, got so much out of it. It's just lovely to be able to give a little bit back now, also for Kim, and the amazing work that she's doing. Yeah.
Amazing. So we'll get to your session in a second, Emma, but we've had two slots so far. We had our opening keynote from Liggy. Is there anything that's kind of on your mind that you've been thinking, feeling, learning based on what you heard from Liggy?
Yeah, I mean, the whole sort of remembering the human in the AI piece is really important, right? So I think I definitely have been outsourcing too much of my brain lately. And that, I think, is just the curse of the solopreneur, right? Where I've got all these plates spinning. How many of them can I sort of outsource to somebody else? But it has got me thinking a lot lately about, all right, I need to kind of pull some of this back. I need to take more control and actually get back into the work myself. Timing is just tricky right now, but that's something I'll be taking away and thinking about. And then just the sort of general kind of stress overload piece. We humans carry a lot anyway, right? And certainly when you're a business owner, you have got all of those different roles and all of those different hats to wear, right? I mean, I've got to figure out my accounting software. I have no idea how to do it. So the stress is real, the burnout's real. And so I think just being reminded that, okay, first of all, you're not the only one experiencing these things, but that there are ways to kind of center yourself again, I think, and sort of find that strength and resilience is always a message I want to hear and be reminded of. So I can't wait for Liggy's book, and I will be reaching out to her too, maybe for a chat.
Yeah, definitely. I was really her piece on self-belief really resonated, actually. It was making me think about the TV show Ted Lasso, and he has this big sort of yellow sign with the word believe on that everyone has to touch before they go out of the room. Yeah, they all tap it. So I should have one of those. That's such a good idea before I start work. So I'm gonna take that away as a thing to just keep front of mind. Thanks, Emma. And then you've just run a session on impact. How was that for you?
It was always nerve-wracking, I think, speaking to your peers, right? It's probably the worst audience, the best audience, because everyone is rooting for you, but then of course you would just want to make sure you're doing a brilliant job for them. I mean, I come from this L&D background, but more recently sort of working in recognition, and so for me, I just hope that, I mean, I'm not here to promote awards in any way, but I hope that people sort of will look at their work and think about, okay, well, maybe I could enter this for an award later. Maybe I could get some recognition, or at the very least, use those guidelines as a way to, elevate the work that they're doing now. So, it was just a lovely opportunity, I think, to sort of just introduce the concept a little bit and share whatever I can, whatever experience I can, and help others.
I was in your session. It was wonderful. I took loads away as someone who has been on the other end of that, applying for awards, and I was in the kind of let's just give it a go camp. I was nodding along going, yeah, that sounds familiar. Me and the team were all about that. But actually, I was really struck by what you said around that sort of showpiece. Like, you really got to show your work and rather than just tell. So I made loads of notes about it. Be mindful of that. It kind of, it reminded me of, I hope you take this in the way it's intended, but it reminded me of like the process of auditing and how you have to evidence everything and how if you conduct your work as if you are constantly being audited, you'll have all the evidence you ever need for something like recognition and awards, because it'll just be there, thinking about how were your decisions made and how can you talk that all through. As a sort of pretty much full-time content creator now, I'm really big into showing your work and evidencing things just as you go along, even giving things away. And there was a lot of similarities and mirrors that I could see in the way that you were describing that process around just be open about showing your work, be really public about it, because the best thing that happened is that you will be recognised and awarded for it. But worst case scenario, I don't think there is a worst case scenario. People will know you for what you do.
They will, yeah. I mean, I think sort of I ended with, you've got the case study, right? Worst case scenario, you've got this brilliant case study, and it's just such a lovely reflective piece to go back and go, right, why did we do that? How did that work? And you can use that internally, right, as a tool to sort of look back on the work that you're doing and would we do that again? Are there lessons to be learned here? So, yeah, it's such a great exercise. I love the auditing reference. I always think of it as like a bit like a maths exam, right? Show your work.
Yes,
okay, how
show your work. Absolutely.
We know you can do it. We know you can do that maths. Show me, and it does become quite essential with awards, especially. What you really want to do is leave the judges with no questions. That's the best. You want them to walk away and go, oh yeah, okay, no, they know what they're doing. They've done it all. I have no questions. That's always my goal when I'm writing these things.
Well, you've got your sessions all out of the way now, so you can sit back and relax. What are you looking forward to today?
God, so many things. I mean, I'm going to be moderating Andrew's session shortly, which is about sort of, winning bids. Tom's got a great session coming up later about pricing. I know that's always sort of quite a, not even contentious, but just something we all need to do that reality check, right? Are we charging enough? So definitely looking forward to that. And then Jasmine's closing keynote at the end. So yeah, lots and lots to look forward to. And of course, all the mingling and the chatting will be good.
Super. Thank you, Emma. And just a last question. If people want to find out a bit more about you, what you do, how to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Oh gosh, here we go. So the best way is LinkedIn right now. I am building my website. So if there's any website building sessions today, I might join those.
Thoughts and prayers on that one.
Yeah. So LinkedIn is the best way. And then happy to connect. Always happy for a cuppa and a chat, and share whatever insights I can. Yeah.
Super. Thank you so much for joining us, Emma. Okay, welcome back to the Free Spirits Live podcast, and we are now after lunch break. We've experienced some of the morning sessions and a couple of post-lunch sessions too, and I'm welcoming Cara Stanford. Hi Cara.
Hello Mark, good to meet you.
I'd love to hear, what have been some of your highlights so far from the day?
Well, I've actually got my learning log and I've got so much in here already. It's great. I think one of the big things was kicking off, let me get up, with Liggy Webb and Strive. That was, what a way to start the day. I thought that was absolutely amazing. I wrote down lots of kind of things. I signed up to her newsletter before she finished speaking.
Amazing.
I need more of that in my life. And I think one of the things that I really, really enjoyed was how she pulls it all together. And I think that's so important for how we communicate with our audience. The fact that she's created a Strive framework, she presents it really well. I just thought this is really sinking in, and I'm a marketing strategist, so I always admire people's branding and how they communicate, but I thought she really nailed it, and just everything, visually we were learning from the way she was talking, but and that model Strive, I mean, that's a game changer, isn't it? I think that's going to help thousands and thousands of people, which is just wonderful. So I really, really, really enjoyed that.
And I was going to ask you, have you taken any action already as a result of what you've learned? But you've signed up for a newsletter, so that's definitely one thing.
Yeah, well, I've also taken action because I was in Cathy Hoy's commercial skills, which was absolutely excellent. And Cathy said something that really resonated with me and my journey, which was she said, you need to be seen as a brain, not a safe pair of hands. And funnily enough, I actually have written down at the beginning of my learning log, I'm paid to think, not to do, because of where I am in my business journey. I'm a strategist. I no longer do the marketing for my clients. I help them understand what they need to do. And Cathy had some really great points which resonated with everyone in the room. But I took a lot of actions during Judy Parsons' quite scary LinkedIn session.
Yes. Yeah, her sessions can be like that, Judy's. I've been to a few of her sessions. Yeah.
I just loved it. And it was the way that she took, I think it was Andy's page and also the L&D Free Spirits LinkedIn page, brought them up and said, this is how I'd improve them. And it was great to see that. But while she was talking, I think a few of us in the room were like, we'll just change our LinkedIn title here. Yeah. So I've already taken, but what I have created, because I am a to-do list girl, I have created my LinkedIn to-do list following her session. So it's great because I'm here, I'm a speaker and on the panel, I'm learning loads. This is wonderful. So yes, this is my post-Judy to-do list.
Yeah. I nearly put this in the chat at the end of Judy's session, but I have creeping LinkedIn shame that comes in every time I listen to her speak. I think I should be on LinkedIn more and not be so scared of it, and B, I really need to make more of it. And she has a lovely way of making it sound safe and easy and doable, which often is not the case with LinkedIn.
Yeah, and it's funny because, as I said, I'm a strategic marketer, and I just think, gosh, you have taught me so much. I'd never claimed to understand LinkedIn in depth because it's a specific tool, but wow, oh my gosh, Judy, how much did you give in such a short session? So lots of learning, lots to do, because you're right, it's the actions we take, isn't it, that are important.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we've still got some sessions left to go. Is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to this afternoon?
I'm looking forward to delivering my first ever speed session.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've never done a speed session before. So I don't know if that means I just have to speak at treble speed. No, of course it isn't. But I'm really intrigued by that because there's quite a few of us delivering 10-minute slots. I'm intrigued to see, one, how I perform, but also how the audience reacts. I really want to make sure that we're giving great value to everybody that's sat there listening to us. So I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you so much for joining us, Cara. If people are listening in and they want to connect with you, find out more about what you do, how can they find you?
Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. So I'm Cara, Kara Stanford, Stanford. And so if you go onto LinkedIn, look up Cara Stanford, I run the marketing spaces. Do connect with me on there, and do let me know that you heard me on this podcast so that I can tie it back and understand the links. That'd be great.
We are in the final stages of Free Spirits Live, and I'm super lucky to have Jill Sainsbury back with us, because Jill was at our original Free Spirits Live podcast last year. So welcome back, Jill.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here, and it was so good last time. I just had to come back.
Oh, well, we had to have you back. Thank you. I wanted to ask you, just thinking about the day so far, what have been some of your highlights?
Well, I mean, there are so many highlights, aren't there? I suppose I need to talk about my own session. Was that a highlight?
We should absolutely talk about your session.
Really, so basically I put together a selection of pro tips for video tips for people who run their own businesses, and a bit nervous about it because I needed to basically demonstrate how to frame pictures. So I made the camera lens go live through Zoom, and it works. So that was a huge relief. So, and no, it was good fun, and people were lovely. And as always, I prepared far too much stuff, But, you just have to go in with more, and if necessary, you pare it back. And I've had some good questions and responses since. So, yeah, that was fabulous as well. But loads of other great sessions as well. And there are so many sessions I didn't get to that I wish I could have got to, because you've got to choose some, haven't you? You can't do it all.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'll just have to come back in October and do the sessions that I didn't get to do this time, I suppose.
I know, it's always the challenge of a day like today where you have to make a choice. And although I think things have been slightly different in this time round, in that Kim's made it easy for people to sort of flip between sessions, so you could have a little bit of a bite here and a little bit of another bite somewhere else, and effectively be in two places at once, even if you might miss some parts. But yeah, it's always a big challenge, that, isn't it? I was at your session, Jill. I thought it was super cool. For those of you who are listening who weren't there, what Jill essentially was doing was talking through video tips for people who work in L&D, and sort of how you can simplify and improve massively the type of video that you make. And you did a live demo where you actually gave the audience the camera, and you were sort of showing us how you would set up a scene and mistakes that people make. It was really cool. I've not seen anything like that before.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. I enjoyed doing it too. But
how about in terms of reflections on the day so far? So what have you been thinking, feeling?
Yes. So I've just come out of a really good panel discussion, actually, and this was to do with AI tools for freelancers. I discovered that you can tell AI about yourself, so that if somebody Googles you, they get more accurate information about you. Because the whole thing about, you can go into AI, I didn't know this, you can go into AI, of course, and it'll come up with some absolute garbage about yourself or somebody you know. But if you tell our AI, this is, making sure that they get the correct information. So that's quite cool. And you can ask one AI tool for a prompt to ask the other prompt, so you can almost get them to prompt each other. It's mind blowing.
So cool.
It's absolutely mind blowing. So yeah, that was really good. So earlier in the day, went to Cathy Hoy's presentation.
Yes.
And she talked about sort of basically how to demonstrate the impact of your learning impact. And of course, impact's really important in terms of winning new business and showing the value for what you do. And she suggested to a client that instead of asking about working out the return of investment, an ROI, think about a COI, which is a cost of inaction, and how much money the company is likely to lose if they do nothing. So that was interesting in terms of actually making a client think they can't do without you because you're so valuable to them. So yeah, that was definitely food for thought.
That's superb.
Oh, wasn't it good? Yeah. Tom McDowell's always a really good speaker, isn't he? He's always had lots to say, and he was talking about pricing, and I was screen grabbing loads of his slides about how to price things properly and thinking about your pricing in terms of whether you're selling a product or whether you're selling time. And as we are media people, that's tricky, isn't it? Because it's, in theory, we sell a product, but it's not confined, it doesn't have the boundary. So that's given me quite a lot to think about as well in terms of how I go forward thinking about pricing, because stuff changes, doesn't it?
It does. And do you know, on a related note, I've just had a text message from somebody who's a fellow creator, video creator, saying, what on earth do I do with this? He's been asked by a brand for a price for creating 100 pieces of content with a month's notice. I need to know a lot more information than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, assuming it's little tiny bits of short content, sounds like an absolute nightmare. And that's where, kind of thinking about Tom's session, the idea of selling time just breaks down completely, because you'd need like a month to recover, even if you could do it. You're making 3 videos a day. That's a lot.
Exactly. How long is it? What's going to be in it? Mind blowing.
My instant reaction was run.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
As fast as you can. That sounds like a recipe for burnout. I know we've got a keynote to look forward to. Is there anything else you're looking forward to in terms of implementing what you've been hearing about learning today?
I think I've got loads of notes, and I'm going to go away and think very hard. I think more, as always, on the business side, thinking about how I can demonstrate what I do and help people. Because obviously we've all got skills that we can all help each other with, and I think that's the value of this community. It isn't just about we don't sell to each other; we help each other create help each other find the new business and work together. So lots there. And certainly in terms of the pricing, I'm going to look at the AI things interesting, although I fear that could go down a rabbit hole. So yeah, and also the sort of measuring my impact, I think it is something to really think about, because that's not something I've really done, to be honest. So yeah, all exciting stuff.
Superb. And one final question. If people are listening in and would like to connect with you and find out a bit more about you and what you do, where's the best place to go?
LinkedIn initially, and then I can give you the details of the website. So I'm Jill Sainsbury, filmmaker and content creator for training and education. Connect on there. And then it's got access to the show reel and website and other stuff. And I do like having one-to-one chats with people. So if anyone's up for a virtual coffee, or even a real coffee if you're in the south of England, then I'd love to meet up.
Oh, lovely. What a lovely offer. Thank you, Jill. Okay. And thanks again for coming back.
Great. Thanks very much. You take care.
Hi, I'm Amy Gottler from the eLearning Academy, and this was my first time attending the Free Spirits Live online conference. And I was really looking forward to attending because it felt like a great opportunity to not only hear from others in similar positions in L&D, but to also take some time out and reflect on my own work and my own business. I think what I enjoyed the most is the diversity of the mix of skills labs, discussion panels and the talks. It gave me the chance to listen to some really inspiring speakers, to take part in some practical activities and to ask questions. There was also an opportunity to connect and collaborate with others through the Slack Conference Village, which I think really helped to make the event feel more interactive and supportive and collaborative. And I think for myself as a small business owner, I tend to focus a lot on what I should be doing next or what I could be doing better. So what I found really valuable about this event was that I not only learned some new things, but I came away with reassurance about the things that I'm already doing well. And I think that kind of confidence and validation can be just as important as learning something new. The online format, I feel, worked really well for me. I can sometimes feel really pressured and overwhelmed at in-person conferences. So being able to join online meant that I could take part more comfortably, and I still got a lot out of the day. And I think if anybody is interested in this event in future, I would personally definitely recommend it, especially to those working for themselves, working in L&D, freelancers, because I think it really, it's a really good balance of practical ideas, honest discussion, collaboration and encouragement. And it was really fun as well, just to meet everybody and learn new things. So yeah, would definitely recommend.
Hi there, my name's Dave from Collaboration Junkie. I'm a consultant and speaker on all things referrals, and this is just a quick testimonial video for Kim Ellis and the L&D Free Spirits Live conference that I spoke at last week. As a speaker, it was a really enjoyable experience. The audience were engaged. The vast majority had their cameras off, which was great. They asked questions. It was a really, really nice environment to speak in. It's too early to tell whether anything will come from me as a speaker, but initial engagement post-session has actually been great. Also, what I'd also say is, in terms of an event organizer to work with, Kim is amazing. I had a couple of requests along the way where I needed to change my slot. She managed to do that with no problem whatsoever. And also she makes it super easy for you to be able to promote the conference, providing with loads of assets and all that good stuff. And actually, even at the first instance, they have a certain way, Kim has a certain way that they like their speakers to be presented, and so all she did though was get me to send the blurb that I would normally send, and she adapted it for the purposes. So essentially it was a smooth, enjoyable experience with a wonderful audience, and I would recommend other speakers to have a conversation and get involved. Cheers.
So welcome back to the Free Spirits podcast. I'm actually talking to you from the future now compared to where we left off the other day. This is a couple of days hence. The dust has settled after the conference, and I'm here with Tejas Kotecha, where we're going to have a look at a bit of a recap after a couple of days of reflection time. Welcome, Tejas.
Thanks very much, Mark. Beautifully pronounced my name. Can't fault you on that.
Tell me a bit about what you've been thinking about after the event on Wednesday.
Yeah, so I was there for the full morning kind of thing, and my first session. It's really my first experience of Free Spirits Live, having joined kind of a month or two ago. This was kind of one of the showpiece events. So it was, I liked the fact there were TEDx style talks. Once I'd figured out how to go from a conference room to another, it was all kind of like, seamlessly done though. And it's fascinating to have all this kind of program done online. Before Wednesday, I wouldn't have thought it was even possible. But I think what it's given me as someone who's got a new L&D offering, going into a room with all these experienced people who've been doing it for decades, is just a new way of thinking, newfound confidence, I think, and also, a perspective that, of what I can offer. And also a way of kind of going forward for the next few months and having confidence in what my offering is and how it might work with the L&D community. So a lot to reflect on. It's a bit like being in several TED Talks and taking it all in. Fascinating talks, incredibly well kept to time. I mean, there's a job in there for someone and keeping all those things to time. But I'm really glad I went, and I think I mentioned to someone else that the admission fee was covered itself 10 minutes into the first talk. So it's fascinating to hear from the great experts, and it felt, I was a bit worried that it wouldn't speak to me because I've just got an L&D offering. I've been worked L&D, but I was really happy that it did, and I took so much out of it, really. Wish there could be one every week, although someone would lose their hair if there was. So, really a lot to reflect on and continue to reflect on it.
In another professional life, I used to run these kinds of conferences and events for people coming together to network and share stories of success and inspire each other. And they do not happen by accident. And I think having seen everything that Kim put into this particular one, it's probably more work to do it virtually because you have to have your eye on so many different things. And there's so much more room for something to go wrong compared to doing it in person. So I think it's an amazing achievement.
Brilliant. Echo that completely.
Did you have any particular highlights from the sessions that you attended?
I think for me, just, being boring a bit, selling my product into the L&D community. So having the confidence really of knowing what I was doing wrong, if I'm honest with you, what I need to change, what I thought was good. I'm in the first year of trying to make a business work and see if it's full time. So I think for me, look, massive highlight of people being friendly from around the world, connecting, great vibes. Free spirits, if you like, I suppose. Just great vibes to be had. Just learning from some brilliant minds in there. People who've done, phenomenal stuff. Compared to me, I might have done reasonable stuff in my corporate career, but I'm new to this environment. So having access, I think, to people and talks and the option to go and dip in and out where you want, I think was a real highlight. But I think from a business point of view, the highlight of getting that expertise and being able to plow on with confidence, really, and that thinking's really been probably the big takeaway.
Yeah, I always think that's one of the coolest things about doing this virtually is that there's a social expectation when you're in person at a conference. You kind of have to just pick a session and stay there. It's not really considered okay to just dip around and sort of float between sessions. But in a virtual session, it's super easy and you haven't got to worry about offending anybody or causing any nuisance. I found myself doing that in the afternoon. I was sort of hopping between a couple of sessions because I really wanted to be at them all. So that's kind of a nice benefit, I guess, of doing this virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that flexibility of being able to have a cup of tea and, being able to be on the, the chat thing and people asking questions and things like that, I think is really nice. And in many ways, you can actually, I know people sometimes say there's a Zoom fatigue, but you can actually be more engaged in the virtual moment than you are sitting in the back of a lecture hall sometimes looking at your watch. And I think that the fact that sessions are effectively, half an hour long pretty much means that, there's a lot to take in, but you know that you're not sitting through something that's 90 minutes. Every bit
100%.
Is gold, I think. And so I think that I think is really good for the way the virtual thing works. Like, we could have extended it, if someone would have done 40 minutes, it wouldn't have felt like, it's really bad because you're getting so much value for your money and so much knowledge, one after the other, which, if I went to one of those talks on one day, it'd be a good day, but having a lot of them is really good.
100%. So you mentioned earlier on, in terms of kind of your learning and takeaways, is there anything that you're kind of excited to get on with in terms of making any changes or making any adjustments to your freelancing business as a result of what you picked up?
Yeah, let's maybe say a bit boring, let's say, from her. I think her session about doing all the facts and figures and knowing what to earn, saying no. There's always a thing when you're trying to earn money to say yes to anybody and everything.
Yeah.
There's firm ground there of kind of doing the sums and writing those things down, or kind of really discover that you can say no. And no is a good answer sometimes. Just because people pay you money to do stuff doesn't mean you need to say yes. I'm really looking forward to refining the model of what I'm going to be doing, saying yes to, but also crucially what I'm going to say no to for the benefit of my mental health and doing projects that I want to do that are not going to take me and distract me. So, a newfound confidence in kind of what my purpose is, I would say, going forward, added to the fact that it is all about numbers and those kind of things, and getting those down on a piece of paper and knowing what my outgoings are compared to, my 20 years in a corporate life with a regular paycheck. So that will be a struggle, but I'm also looking forward to embracing that challenge as well.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to hearing how you get on with it all. Thank you so much for joining us, Tejas. Just a quick question before we carry on. What would people need to do if they wanted to find out a bit more about you, what you do, who you are? How would they connect with you?
Yeah, Tejas Communications, all about delivering communication skills for people, whether that's public speaking, your own individual communication, or how teams communicate with each other and with their leaders. So I'm on LinkedIn, very accessible, got a website, email is on there, mobile is on there. So the website's tejaskatecha.com, Tejas Katecha on LinkedIn. Add the right one. There's about 4 of us. Easy to make a mistake. You wouldn't think there's 4 of us with the same name on LinkedIn, but I'm very accessible. So, please do call if you want to, email, use your own best method of communication to get in touch. And it'd be great to have a chat because this is all very new to me. So I'm really learning every day. I feel I'm learning lots and I'm really enjoying connecting with people, whatever method they choose.
Superb. Thank you so much for joining us, Tejas.
Cheers. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, and our final guest on the podcast is the original Free Spirit, Kim Ellis, the originator of the Free Spirits Network and the host of Free Spirit Live. We are now 2 days after the latest Free Spirits Live event has taken place. Welcome, Kim.
Hi. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
How are you doing?
I'm still coming down from the high, if I'm honest. My husband said to me this morning, he was like, where did Thursday go? How are we on Friday already? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. It seems like Wednesday was such an epic day and it was a full-on day. And Thursday I had a couple of meetings and things, but I was still very much riding the wave of Wednesday. And today I'm like, okay, calm it down. And I'm still still a little bit hyped up.
Yeah, it was a really full day. I was amazed by the time the end came around, just how quickly it had gone.
I know.
And I can't imagine like an in-person event going that quickly, let alone a virtual one. It flew by.
I know, this is the thing. And I think it's because of how well we spaced the breaks out. If you think we had 2 sessions break, 2 sessions lunch, 2 sessions break, and then 3 sessions, boom, you're done.
Now, that was one of the changes that you made from the first event that took place last year. Were there any other changes that you tried to implement this time round?
Yeah, I mean, we did. Every time you run a conference, there's always going to be lessons learned. It's like whenever you run a workshop, whenever you run any type of thing, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, in October, the cock-up for the conference was me sharing my personal link for everybody to get in. So we had a bunch of people coming in with my name. So that didn't happen this time because that was, the thing. But what I did do this time was manage to set the Zoom up for 9:30 p.m. till 4 a.m. And then one of the speakers let me know on Monday. I was like, oh my gosh, no. Yeah. So that was kind of the big thing that went wrong. But the changes that we made from last time, back in October, we didn't have any breaks. We just had the lunch hour. So people were coming on at 9:30 and we were back to back to back until 12 o'clock. and then we had a break for an hour, and then we were back to back until 4. And people were like, I'm just going from session to session to session. I don't have time to use breakout rooms. I have time to go for a break, get a cup of tea or anything like that. So we worked in 2 30-minute breaks, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. That was the biggest change. And we also added an extra stream. So in October, we had 2 to 3 streams running at the same time to give people that variety so they could build their own conference experience depending on what they wanted to focus on. And this time we had 3/4 streams running at any one time. So it was busier, which kind of put people into a bit of a quandary because people are like, I can't choose between the sessions. And try as I might to not have content clashes, you know, for the type of content, you're always going to have ones where you're like, oh, I want to do both. And we even had one person in Slack saying, I'm torn between this session and this session. And both speakers were like, well, what are you after? Okay, maybe because of this one or this one. So it was really nice to see that engagement in Slack as well.
Yeah, it is hard, but it's the same with an in-person conference, right? You're always going to have that kind of quandary over, you know, different streams and different areas to be. I think the beauty of having a virtual event is that you can genuinely be in both if you want to. Dip in for a bit of one and then grab a bit of the other. Whereas in person, that's just impossible to do. Like, it would be socially kind of unacceptable to do that, but also really, really difficult to do that in a, you know, a huge, great big sprawling conference in one of the big exhibition centres, for example.
Unless you sit right at the back so you can kind of duck out and sneak out. But then it's like, what if you're seen and then someone thinks that you're leaving and you might just be leaving to nip to the loo or something. But it's like, it's the conference faux pas. But I mean, I've done it and I've been in the middle row in the middle seats and thought, oh, I just want to leave because this is bobbins. But you can't because you're then hemmed in. When the beauty of a virtual conference, you can just mooch around and dip into whatever you like.
Well, on that note, I know when you're running these kind of things, it's difficult to actually fully sit back and enjoy it and take some of it in. Did you get a chance to attend any sessions?
I attended one session as an attendee.
Amazing. Okay.
One session. Out of all of them, I think we had 9 main conferences, 2 keynotes, 6 skills labs, 2 discussion panels, and we had the sponsors Q&A surgeries as well. And I got one as an attendee, which was great. And that was Dave Plunkett's Building Referrals.
Yes.
And that was one that I was like, okay, I want to go to that one as just to see, because we could all do better at honing the referral skills, because they're super warm connections. They already know us. So there's already a trust level there. So I really wanted to go to that one. I
really enjoyed that session as well. He had great energy, which was, again, it's a really difficult thing to sustain virtually when you're not necessarily getting feedback from an in-person audience. But I thought he did a brilliant job with it. I picked up loads of tips. On the referral piece, is there anything that you're thinking of doing differently as a result of joining in that session?
Just bloody ask people. I think this is the thing, because we've sometimes we've got to get out of our own way and think, if we don't ask, there's no chance of anybody referring us. And if I've got a client and they're like, and they're giving me no amends on a course that I've just built for them, they're like, yeah, this is amazing, this is great. At this point, I'm not saying to them, okay, well, if you've got any of your other companies or other departments that I could build something for, do you mind giving me a referral? Do you mind letting them know that I exist? If I don't have that conversation, it's never going to happen. And what's the worst that can happen? They say no. Okay. Yeah. I'm fabulous. They're still going to want to work with me anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it sends so many messages, and I was really reflecting on that. I remember, like, in a previous professional life, I used to employ quite a few associates, and usually I'd have a bit of a kind of matrix of favors in my head of like who was busy, who wasn't busy, who might maybe deserve a gig, who versus who's had loads of work. And very often, if nobody had asked me for a referral or anything like that, I would just assume they were really busy. And I wouldn't ask them just because I thought I was being polite. Whereas actually, in retrospect, if they'd asked me, I probably would have just assumed that they're ready to do some work for somebody, and I'd just recommend them anyway. It's part of how the world goes round. So I I got loads out of that session from Dave.
I got a lot out of the other sessions. I loved Liggy's opening keynote and Jasmine's closing keynote. I thought that they were like the perfect top and tails, because Liggy was getting us all in the whole wellness, going through the Strive model of how we can build ourselves, get ourselves ready for being freelancers. And then Jasmine's was just perfect to ground everybody, bring us all back down. And she was so soothing. Just needed some warm milk and I would have been gone. But she was so soothing. And I think it was just the perfect way to round everything up with 5 stories about us and about how, anthropology, bringing it into the L&D and into the freelance world, how it all connects. Loved it.
It's interesting, isn't it, how both of those had quite a strong element of storytelling to them. I think, obviously, Liggy being a highly published author, I loved the analogy that she shared about the cocoon and how the butterfly sort of struggling out of the cocoon. And actually, no type of change or transformation is without some form of struggle. And I'm going to write that down somewhere and stick it somewhere important so that I do bear that in mind. When things are tough, it's usually because a change is about to take place or you're about to break through into something new, rather than you're failing.
I mean, actually, one of the people in the feedback form that we sent out said that they were going to print that out and stick it to the wall.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I think there's a lot to be said for doing the affirmations and creating a vision board and that kind of thing. And I think some people may think that it's a bit airy-fairy, but actually it's a lot to do with self-empowerment, remembering that we are awesome and we can do this. And there might be grunt work to do, that you might have to completely disintegrate yourself to become a butterfly, but it's worth it in the end, and everybody can soar and thrive on their own terms.
I mean, I hate to go there, Kim, after we've only just finished one amazing event, but what's next?
Yes. Well, we actually, on the day of the conference, because this is the thing, I missed a trick with the October conference because I hadn't planned 2026 as conferences. So I let the pool cool a little bit before diving back in. So this time I thought I'm going to release the date for the 2026. That was released at the same time that I put the spring conference on. And I thought I'm going to actually put the tickets for sale during the spring conference. So at 12:30 on Wednesday, the site went live. We have our opening and closing keynotes. So Erica Farmer is opening us up. Tom McDowell is closing us down on the 1st of October. And the theme for that one is all about how we can become thought leaders and speakers, how we can leverage those types of opportunities for our freelance business, whatever your business is, whether you're an instructional designer, a facilitator, a training designer, coach, whatever it is, how you can become known for doing what you do and leverage those opportunities. So we've got, like I said, Erica and Tom are top and tailing, and then we've already got a bunch of speakers lined up. Don't have any session information yet, but it's like, this is who you're going to be hearing from. And it's not the full lineup, but I thought, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah,
people were riding a high from the conference. It's like, actually, this is what we're planning for October. And we've already had 5 bookings.
Oh, amazing. So, that's incredible.
Within 24 hours. I was like, yes. And we're off. There we go. I mean, we need more, but this is the thing. It's riding that this was freaking awesome. Yeah. Now let's book for the next one.
And remind us, Kim, when's the next day?
It's the 1st of October.
1st of October.
Thursday the 1st. Yeah. The format is probably going to be the same: morning break, lunch, afternoon break. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the amount of sessions. Like I say, will just depend, because there's so many good people that I want to get involved. So restricting it down is really difficult. I don't think anyone wants to do a 12-hour conference with me, though.
Well, do you know what I was thinking when I saw your email about the mix over time? I was like, oh, is there an idea in that? Do you remember Late Night Hollyoaks? We used to do Late Night Hollyoaks. But maybe there's a late night Free Spirits version of this conference where you do start at 9:30 p.m. and go all the way through to 4 a.m.
No, because I'm in bed for 10. So no, I'm not doing. I used to work nights. I used to do that. So yeah, I know the lifestyle. I'm too old for that now.
Yeah, amen to that. So, Kim, thank you again for putting on such an amazing event and topping the previous one. I know the next one's going to be even better in October. I will make sure I leave a link in the show notes to that next event so people can book on it once this podcast episode goes out. In the meantime, take care, folks, and we'll see you for the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by leaving a review on your favourite podcast app. It really makes a difference. And if you want to learn more about how L&D Free Spirits can lift up your freelancing business, you can find out more information at ldfreespirits.com.